Welcome back, everyone. We've got a mountain of entertainment industry news here, fresh from Further and Better's international roundup. Articles, executive moves, festival buzz, you name it.
Sounds like you want the inside scoop on what's happening in film and TV worldwide.
Absolutely. And this roundup is fascinating. Kind of shows how the industry is grappling with crises and still pushing creative boundaries.
It's a really interesting mix.
Let's start with Cate Blanchett. She's not just a talented actress, but a real advocate as a UNHCR Goodwill Ambassador.
Right.
This Displacement Film Fund that she just launched at the Rotterdam Film Festival is a big deal, giving 100,000 grants to 5 filmmakers.
Wow, that's amazing. And the selection panel. Talk about impressive Cynthia Erivo, Jonas Poe Rasmussen, Agnieszka Holland.
Yeah, it really highlights a trend. We're seeing the arts stepping up to support those whose voices have been silenced, whether by conflict or natural disasters. It's more than just charity, right?
Definitely. It's about ensuring these diverse stories get told.
It's an investment in the future of storytelling.
Exactly.
And speaking of global shifts, the BFI has confirmed that the UK is in talks to rejoin Creative Europe MEDIA.
After Brexit, right. This is potentially huge for the UK film industry.
Yeah, while the UK Global Screen Fund has been helpful, rejoining Creative Europe MEDIA could open up a lot of doors for co-productions and put UK films back in the spotlight internationally.
There's always the bureaucratic hurdles, of course.
Right.
But the potential benefits are massive.
From industry changes to, well, a story that really shook Sweden, Smartpunkten. This miniseries, based on a true story, even the English title, Pressure Point, doesn't quite capture the intensity.
Yeah, this one is a cautionary tale. It shows the power of art, but also the potential downsides.
You have playwright Lars Noren and producer Isa Stenberg. They were working with dangerous inmates, hoping to use theater as a form of rehabilitation.
But it didn't go quite as planned.
To say the least, some of the neo-Nazi prisoners ended up forming a radical group and were responsible for the deaths of 2 police officers. It really blurs the lines between art and reality. And the series grapples with the ethics of it all, Like, was the risk worth taking?
It makes you think about the responsibility we have when portraying real-life tragedies for entertainment.
Where's the line between artistic freedom and exploitation?
A tough question. And this case in Sweden is a stark reminder that good intentions don't always guarantee good outcomes.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about animation. Pixar's chief creative officer, Docter, has been reflecting on the studio's journey. He's the mind behind Inside Out and Up.
Classics.
Films that have really redefined what animation can achieve emotionally.
And speaking of which, Inside Out 2 just became Pixar's highest-grossing film ever.
Wow, that's incredible.
It shows that audiences are really connecting with these kinds of stories, stories that explore complex emotions, even adults.
Maybe it's a sign of the times.
It makes you wonder if it's, a reflection of our need to process, the anxieties of a post-pandemic world.
Could be. But Pixar also faces its own set of challenges. Maintaining that magic while navigating a changed world, promoting diversity within the studio, and finding fresh ways to approach sequels.
It's a delicate balancing act for a studio so deeply rooted in, childhood wonder. But they seem to be adapting.
Speaking of adapting, let's head over to India, where Pedalok is back on Prime Video for Season 2. It's already a huge hit, even globally.
It follows a Delhi cop investigating a political murder.
But it's much more than just a crime drama, right? It really digs into Indian society.
Exactly, touching on themes of corruption and the struggle for justice.
It's a perfect example of how streaming platforms are breaking down barriers, giving us access to stories from all over the world.
It's amazing. And the fact that Pedalok is resonating with audiences globally, it proves that great storytelling transcends language and culture.
It's not just about subtitles, right? It's about experiencing different perspectives.
Different realities. And recognizing the universality of, human emotions and struggles.
Now get this. Quentin Tarantino might be making a move to theater.
What? Really?
Yeah, he hinted at it during a surprise appearance at Sundance 2025. He's apparently working on a play, and he even suggested it could be his last project.
Tarantino on Broadway, I can't even imagine.
He even mentioned being frustrated with the short theatrical windows for films these days, wants that immersive experience of live theater. It's like he's searching for the final frontier of storytelling, which is ironic for a guy so associated with film.
Yeah, it is kind of funny when you think about it. This shift could be huge, not just for Tarantino, but for the theater world in general.
Absolutely. His style, his ability to blend genres, it could breathe new life into the stage. It shows that even established artists are looking for ways to challenge themselves.
And their audiences.
While we're talking about Sundance, Alex Russell's Lurker generated a lot of buzz. It dives into the darker side of fame and influencer culture in LA.
That whole world of parasocial relationships, where fans feel like they have a personal connection with someone they've never met, it's a fascinating and somewhat unsettling phenomenon.
The film follows this guy, Matthew, who becomes obsessed with a pop star. It raises questions about how social media affects both celebrities and fans.
Definitely a film that reflects our times. Makes you wonder what the future of fame will look like.
As these platforms evolve, as technology blurs the lines even further,
Will parasocial relationships become the norm?
it's something to think about. Shifting gears a bit, the Stay in LA campaign is gaining some serious momentum in Hollywood. They're pushing to revive local production after those devastating wildfires.
They've got some big names behind them. Keanu Reeves, Bette Midler, Rian Johnson, Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, it's impressive. And they're focusing on practical solutions, uncapping tax incentives, reducing permit fees, and addressing those insurance issues that make filming in LA so challenging.
It's a good reminder that the entertainment industry isn't just about glamour and awards.
It's about jobs, livelihoods, and the economic health of communities. While LA is fighting to keep production alive, Disney France is facing a different kind of hurdle. Their deal with Canal Plus has expired.
It's impacting everything from Disneyland Paris to their various Disney channels.
It highlights how the landscape of content distribution is changing.
Traditional partnerships are being renegotiated. Streaming platforms are battling for dominance.
Disney France is just one example of a company having to adapt to this new reality. All right, folks, prepare to be amazed. Netflix is actually optimizing its content for second screen viewing.
You mean watching TV while scrolling through our phones?
The very same. And get this, a study found that 91% of Americans multitask while watching TV.
So maybe Netflix is just being realistic.
They're making subtle changes, incorporating more expository dialogue so viewers can follow along even if they're distracted.
It makes you wonder if they're catering to our short attention spans or contributing to them.
It's a slippery slope.
Definitely a sign of the times. It seems like the way we consume content is changing rapidly, and the industry is trying to keep up. Raises questions about the future of storytelling.
Will we see shorter episodes?
More fragmented narrative. Content designed to be consumed in snippets.
Or will there be a pushback? A yearning for those focused, immersive experiences.
Only time will tell.
From the future of attention spans to the enduring power of classic literature, Thomas Vinterberg, the director of Another Round,
Love that film.
is taking on Astrid Lindgren's The Brothers Lionheart.
Oh, what a story.
This story, set in the mystical land of Nandijala, explores themes of faith, doubt, and courage in the face of death. And another adaptation of Lindgren's work is Making Waves. Hans Rosenfeld, the creator of The Bridge and Marcella, has brought Ronja, the robber's daughter, to life for Viaplay.
It was a huge hit on Netflix in Europe.
It's a coming-of-age story set in medieval Scandinavia. It seems like they've managed to capture the spirit of the original book while adding Rosenfeld's signature intrigue. Speaking of genre-bending stories, Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther, has a new film in the works called Sinners. It stars Michael B. Jordan.
Sounds intriguing.
It's a unique blend of supernatural elements, American music, and Jim Crow-era history. And while Coogler's pushing boundaries with traditional storytelling, David S. Goyer, the screenwriter behind The Dark Knight and Blade, is venturing into AI-powered storytelling with his new platform called Inscension.
AI-powered.
It's built around his sci-fi world, Emergence, and uses an AI co-pilot named Atlas to help creators contribute ideas and stories.
So the AI is actually helping to write the stories.
Yeah. Goyer's platform also uses blockchain technology to track rights and ensure transparency.
This is fascinating. We're seeing a potential shift in how intellectual property is managed. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's much more to discuss. Let's take a closer look at some of the power moves happening behind the scenes.
The AFCI, the Association of Film Commissioners International, just announced its 2025 board. Marnie Gee from the BC Film Commission is the new chair. What's interesting is their emphasis on global representation, with board members from all over the world.
It reflects the increasingly interconnected nature of the industry. Co-productions, international collaborations, and diverse locations are really driving this trend.
While the AFCI expands its global reach, New and Connect is going through some changes, leading to the departure of Leona Connell, their chief commercial officer. She was key in expanding their international content distribution, so her exit is significant.
It will be interesting to see what direction they take. Meanwhile, Sony Pictures Television has hired Jennifer Rogers Doyle from Disney to lead their franchise management division.
She's got a proven track record working on major franchises like Percy Jackson and The Bear. Blink 49 Studios just appointed Andrew Nissen as their VP of scripted television, and they've made a bunch of internal promotions as well.
Sounds like they're gearing up for growth in the scripted content arena.
From Hollywood to Australia, Tom Avison, Director of Operations at Sky Studios Elstree, has been tapped as the founding CEO of Perth Film Studios. This new facility, backed by a huge investment from the WA government, is set to open in 2026.
It reflects the growing demand for studio space worldwide and the competition among countries to attract international productions.
And it's not just studios and executives on the move. There's a lot happening in the world of podcasting as well. Jonathan Pasca, who's worked on podcasts like The Traitors, Uncloaked, and Disney Plus's Rivals, has joined Listen as an executive producer.
His experience in visual podcasting suggests they're pushing boundaries, exploring new ways to engage audiences.
Authentic Talent in Literary Management is celebrating its 20th anniversary with several promotions and new hires. Joshua Pash and Philip Grenz have been promoted to partners, with Grenz also becoming head of the talent department.
That's fantastic. And they brought in Raquel David as a literary manager and Logan Potter as a manager and digital strategist.
Warner Bros. Motion Picture Group has created a brand new position, Chief Business Officer, and they've hired Ted Lim from Amazon MGM Studios to fill it.
He'll be responsible for maximizing the reach of their films beyond theatrical releases.
A crucial role in today's world, where theatrical windows are shrinking and streaming platforms are becoming more important. From the boardrooms to the buzz of festivals and markets, let's talk about some premieres. The romantic drama miniseries Mixtape will be making its international debut at SXSW in March.
It's a co-production between Australia's Aquarius Films and Ireland's Subotica, set to release later this year on Foxtel's Binge.
Michael Shanks' body horror film, Together, has become a hot acquisition target at Sundance, with major studios like Apple, A24, and Amazon all vying for the rights.
It seems like originality and strong execution can still make a big impact.
RX France is launching MIP London, a multi-genre TV market running alongside the London TV screenings. Over 1,400 registrations from 75 countries already. London's becoming the place to be for TV executives looking for new content.
It speaks volumes about the UK's growing importance as a global hub for television production.
Let's talk about some exciting projects in development. Rebecca Hall, who was phenomenal in The Night House, is joining forces with Adam Wingard, director of Godzilla vs. Kong, for A24's action thriller Onslaught.
Onslaught stars Adria Arjona as a mother who has to protect her family after a military experiment goes wrong.
And Emerald Fennell, the Oscar-winning writer and director of Promising Young Woman, is tackling Emily Bronte's classic Wuthering Heights for Warner Bros.
Margot Robbie is Catherine Earnshaw and Jacob Elordi is Heathcliff. Can't wait for that one.
For fans of psychological thrillers, Kate Mara is joining Elizabeth Moss and Kerry Washington in Apple's limited series Imperfect Women, based on the novel by Araminta Hall.
It delves into the dark side of female friendships.
And Mark Consuelos has joined the cast of Scream 7, directed by franchise creator Kevin Williamson.
The Scream franchise is so good at reinvention. In Scandinavia, the Scandi Alliance, a collaboration between Sweden's TV4 Play, Denmark's TV2, and Norway's TV2, has chosen Royal Blood as their first scripted project.
It's a historical drama set in the early 19th century, exploring the power struggles of Nordic royalty.
And Diane Morgan's Mandy is back for a fourth season on the BBC.
Sean Bean is leading the cast of BBC's This City Is Ours, written by The Last Kingdom writer Stephen Butchard.
It's a classic redemption story set in Liverpool's criminal underworld.
Jeremy Allen White, the star of The Bear, is set to star in and executive produce Netflix's limited series adaptation of Andre Aciman's Enigma Variations.
Aciman's novel explores the complexities of love and desire. Ruben Östlund, the Palme d'Or-winning director of Triangle of Sadness, has started filming his new film, The Entertainment System is Down, in Budapest.
He's got an amazing cast. Kirsten Dunst, Daniel Bruhl, Keanu Reeves, Nicholas Braun, Samantha Morton, Tobias Menzies, Connor Swindells, and Lindsay Duncan.
Wow, that's a lineup.
The film follows passengers on a long-haul flight from the UK to Australia who have to confront their own boredom and discomfort when the in-flight entertainment system fails.
Sounds like classic Östlund, using humor to expose social conventions and our dependence on technology.
Netflix Japan is adapting the manga Kokumin Kuzu into a live-action series called Quiztopia. It's set in an alternate Japan where contestants on a government-run quiz show can win anything they desire, but losers face forced labor or conscription. Elliot Page's Pageboy Productions has partnered with Bell Media to create original scripted TV series for CTV and Crave.
They're all about amplifying underrepresented voices.
BBC Scotland has commissioned Jailed, Women in Prison, a 4-part factual series offering a look inside female prisons, HMP Grampian and HMP and YOI Stirling.
It's an important project that will hopefully spark conversations about the justice system.
MGM Plus has ordered American Classic, an 8-episode, half-hour comedy starring Kevin Kline.
Kline's return to television after the Kaminsky Method. This should be great.
Adeline Rudolph and Arden Cho are starring in Perfect Girl, a psychological thriller described as Scream meets Black Swan.
It follows K-pop trainees competing for spots in a supergroup. We've covered a lot, and we're not even done yet. The entertainment world is constantly moving. But before we dive into deals, renewals, and cancellations, let's take a moment to reflect. It's clear that the entertainment industry is dynamic and ever-evolving. It's adapting to changing viewer habits, embracing globalization, and constantly exploring new ways to tell stories. It's a fascinating time to be following this industry. Let's dive into some of those big business moves. Sony Pictures International Productions just acquired the international rights to Tsui Hark's Legends of the Condor Heroes, The Gallants.
Tsui Hark, he's a legend in the martial arts world, right? I mean, he's the guy behind films like Once Upon a Time in China, Detective D. This new film is already creating a lot of buzz in China.
It seems like Sony Pictures is really banking on it becoming a global hit, too, with their plans for a wide release across Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and the U.S.
Makes sense. There's a definite growing interest in martial arts films outside of China these days. And Tsui Hark's style, you know, those epic battles, stunning visuals, complex characters, it's got a history of success internationally.
From martial arts to reality TV. The founders of Eureka Productions, Chris Colviner and Paul Franklin, are starting something new. It's called Eureka Studios.
And they've partnered with Fremantle.
Exactly. They're going to be developing international unscripted formats. And get this, they're even thinking about moving into scripted content.
That's interesting. Eureka's got a knack for creating those hit unscripted shows like Farmer Wants a Wife and The Floor.
And Fremantle. They have that global reach, that distribution network that's tough to beat.
It'll be fascinating to see what they come up with together. And speaking of sticking with what works, HGTV's extended Hometown with Ben and Aaron Napier for another 32 episodes.
Looks like the show's going to be around until at least 2027. It's a flagship show for HGTV, and it's not hard to see why.
Ben and Aaron are so genuine, you know? Their love for their community and their talent for home renovations, it's a winning combination. It's feel-good television. It celebrates simple values, craftsmanship, small-town life.
There's something comforting about that, especially in our fast-paced world.
Let's talk renewals and cancellations. Fans of the Swedish crime drama Fallen, starring Sophia Helen, will be happy to hear it's been renewed for a second season.
It's on TV4, right.
Yeah. Fallen is such a gripping series. It's got all those elements we love about Scandinavian crime dramas, the complex plot, those compelling characters, and those beautiful Swedish landscapes.
Nordic noir continues to be a global phenomenon.
Now for some bittersweet news. Season 3 of Bosch, Legacy, the spin-off of Amazon's Bosch, will be its last.
The final season premieres on Prime Video on March 27th. It'll be interesting to see how they wrap up Harry Bosch's journey.
I agree. It's always sad to see a good show end, but it's better to have a satisfying conclusion than to drag things out too long.
Bosch, Legacy has been a great follow-up to the original. It's got that same gritty realism, those complex characters.
And speaking of captivating stories, the Edinburgh TV Festival is offering 2 amazing opportunities for anyone who wants to work in television. The Ones to Watch and the network programs.
These programs are so valuable. They give people access to those inspiring sessions, creative debates, networking events, not to mention year-round industry support, and it's all free.
The Ones to Watch program is for rising stars who are already working in the industry.
And the network program is designed for those just starting out, with less than 3 months of paid experience.
It's great to see these kinds of initiatives. They really do support new talent and encourage more diversity within the industry.
It shows a real commitment to the future.
Okay, let's dive back in. More news and insights coming from Further and Better's International Roundup.
Still so much to unpack. Deals, renewals, cancellations, even a few career opportunities in there.
It never slows down, does it?
It really doesn't. It's a reminder of how global this industry has become, so interconnected.
Right. It's not just about Hollywood anymore.
Not at all.
We're seeing these exciting developments happening all over the world. Let's start with a big acquisition. Sony Pictures has acquired the international rights for Sui Hark's Legends of the Condor Heroes, The Gallants.
Ah, Suihark, a master of the genre.
This martial arts epic is already generating buzz in China.
Sony's making a smart move, I think. It shows they're really paying attention to the global appeal of Chinese cinema.
Especially when it comes to action and fantasy.
Exactly.
It's not just big budget films, though. There's a lot happening in the unscripted world, too.
Right.
Chris Colviner and Paul Franklin, the founders of Eureka Productions, have partnered with Fremantle
To launch Eureka Studios, focusing on international unscripted formats.
They're even thinking about moving into scripted content.
Eureka has a knack for those hit, unscripted shows. Think Farmer Wants a Wife, The Floor.
And Fremantle, well, they've got that global reach. That distribution network is incredible.
It's a powerful combination.
Speaking of powerful, HGTV has renewed Hometown with Ben and Aaron Napier for another 32 episodes.
They've really found a winning formula with that show.
Ben and Aaron, they're just so genuine. It's feel-good television, you know.
It is.
It celebrates craftsmanship, small-town life.
A nice change of pace.
Let's move on to renewals and cancellations. Some good news for fans of Scandinavian crime dramas. Fallen, starring Sophia Helen, has been renewed for a second season.
That's great news.
It's got all those elements we love about Nordic noir, the complex plot, the characters, those beautiful Swedish landscapes.
It's a global phenomenon for a reason.
And now for some bittersweet news. The third season of Bosch Legacy, the spin-off of Bosch, will be its last.
It had a good run.
The final season premieres on Prime Video on March 27th.
Should be a satisfying conclusion to Harry Bosch's journey.
For anyone hoping to break into the television industry, the Edinburgh TV Festival is offering two fantastic opportunities: the ones to watch and the network programs.
Those programs are so valuable. Inspiring sessions, creative debates, networking events, and they offer year-round support.
And it's all free.
Amazing.
The ones to watch is for rising stars who are already working in the industry.
And the network program is for those just starting out.
It's so great to see these initiatives that actively support new talent, encourage diversity.
A real investment in the future of the industry.
We've seen so much movement and innovation, from the acquisition of international rights to the development of new platforms and technologies. It's clear the industry is adapting to how viewers are consuming content.
Embracing globalization, too.
And exploring new ways to tell stories and connect with audiences.
What stood out to you the most from all of this? What are you most excited about?
So much to think about.
What do you think will be the biggest game changer in the coming year?
It's a fascinating time to be following this industry.
It really is. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your finger on the pulse of what's next.
Excellent advice. We'll see you all next time for another deep dive into the world of entertainment.